It's the
I
fact that we
love it
start tickled every time.
every single time
Every time.
because the technology is beating us up, guys. It's beating us up. We need to hire us a Gen Z.
Oh,
That's what we need to do.
man.
And
We're at that
Gen
point in life where we gotta hire the younger people to help us out.
I think so. We need someone to press record because it's kicking my butt every week.
That's the part. It's not that we really doing a lot. We just gotta press record and we fighting for our lives every
A
time. And
lot of
the
questions.
ending. The play and the stop.
A lot of questions. Why are there so many questions? Welcome back, my friend.
Woo, we're here, y'all. Y'all, first of all, let's give us a round of applause. We are being consistent every week. Welcome to episode 4.
Episode 4.
We're here. We are attacking all the things that the people don't want to say. We are saying them.
Yes.
Yes.
Somebody has
So,
to.
and hey, why not us, right?
Yeah. That's how
Yeah.
I feel.
So I saw a thread because, I see everything on threads. And this thread in particular said, y'all are going to deconstruct y'all's way to hell. Yeah.
What is wrong with people?
And so that is what we're going to talk about today. Deconstruction. And one, you're not going to deconstruct your way to hell. If
Nope.
anything, you'll reconstruct and you'll be fine. But the people's opinion and their thought processes on deconstruction and what it is, because we had that wave where it was really big. I think we're going back in the deconstruction wave. But,
Yeah.
it was a moment when everybody was deconstructing and just ripping everything apart in an unproductive way, I think. It was just,
Yeah.
let's just all deconstruct and not really have an endpoint to it. I think we're going back, on the rise of deconstruction. But the fact that y'all think the fact that deconstruction is being demonized to me is
Wow.
wild.
Wow. Wow.
Because, huh?
Because what you're gonna deconstruct yourself to hell. How
Hell.
ridiculous. I mean, as deconstruction is on the rise, the other thing that's on the rise is this like um very zealous for Christ, everything's demonic mentality.
Yes.
I
It is,
haven't heard
yeah,
the word demon so much in my life. And like,
demonic and deliverance. Because we was on the deliverance train a little bit too.
oh my God. I had to kind of stop being friends with somebody because they got obsessed with the deliverance movement. And I
Really?
was just like, my friend, my friend, you're what you're losing it. You're losing the plot.
The plot has been lost for so long. I feel like if we don't deconstruct to get to the plot, right? Like it
Preach.
might be it might be necessary, guys, for a little deconstruction because y'all have lost it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I also think like at some point in your little life, we're only here for a short time, guys.
The pilgrims passing through.
You know, oh, come on. Just passing through. But at some point in your little life, you should interrogate everything you believe. I think at some point you just should. Like, I mean, every single thing, not just your faith, but what you believe about yourself, what you believe about
Absolutely.
the world, what you believe about everything. You should interrogate it because I'm going to say this as kindly as I can. Too many of us stopped our mental maturation in grade school. We learned what we learned about a thing in the 4th grade, the 8th grade, the 10th grade, and we said, "Well, that's what I know about that thing, and I'll never expand my knowledge on it." And then you trust to get on the internet and act like you're an expert.
And not only that, then you turn on a microphone and you got on a podcast and said some things that
Hello?
had no backing at all.
No backing. I've been in an Instagram comment dialogue exchange with a young man about a certain pastor preaching about the Big Bang Theory recently. And go ahead.
Well, I would like to say if y'all have watched any of our other episodes, this particular conversation is a scam. It's one of the scammers that we were alluding to but did not name, but continue.
And I asked this young man who is like, he's not a scientist. He doesn't have to know exactly that the Big Bang Theory isn't an explosion. Well, you do if you're using it as an example in front of thousands of people and sharing it on the internet. Like, you could just look it up. And what you learned about the Big Bang Theory in fourth grade, Brian, shouldn't be what you think about it at 46.
No, facts.
You
Facts.
you're taught what you're able to handle in the fourth grade. At 46, you should be able to handle more.
You know that's good because it gives y'all also, obviously we have learned they still got their vacation Bible school education, right? And then they, like you said, not only they get on the internet and get podcasts, and you get up on the stage and you're saying things that make zero sense,
Hmm.
and people follow you. And then when the people want to deconstruct, we'll just take the Big Bang Theory as our topic here, because they found out what you said about the Big Bang Theory was crazy and you were using it to, postulate about faith. Then they want to deconstruct. Now y'all mad, but you said it made no sense.
Right,
So you cannot be mad at people for asking questions because who
right.
is, well, apparently people are, but how are y'all going through life not asking questions? We are two very inquisitive women here, okay? And we have caused a lot of ruckus, especially especially
Mm.
in the church,
Yeah,
solely from asking questions,
yeah.
because make it make sense to me. And if you
Right.
can't, let me know. You know what? I don't know the answer to that. But let's study it together. Let's look it up together instead of demonizing people who are curious.
Yeah, yeah.
And why
And I
would you want people to explore and ask questions and get a deeper faith? It's not where your faith comes from, or am I wrong about that?
no, you're right. I'm with you
Mm.
when you're right, and you're right. Okay? I just think people are too afraid to question anything. But in their defense, you know, I know how I was raised, and similar to how you were raised in church, it was seen as blasphemous to
Yeah.
question anything that you read in the Bible, anything that came out of your pastor's mouth. Like, you had to accept it as law. And I think so many people are against deconstructing because they think that what we're saying by deconstructing is that God is not right.
It I can s I don't know, I struggle with people's fear of deconstruction because it makes me feel as though y'all make God real small and he is not intelligent to you,
Mhm.
and, just a mastermind of everything. If a person questioning things makes you so afraid, one, that you sending the people to hell, but also, what do y'all think what do y'all think they're gonna discover? Like, I find it exciting. You wanna ask questions? Cool. Let's
Right.
dig deep and figure out whatever is, and if we cannot find the answer, I believe he's all-knowing, and this answer will come to me in some way, shape, or form. And
Yeah.
if I don't get it, that does not mean, for me, that I would leave the faith because I didn't receive some sort of answer. I don't feel like we even are entitled to that. It gives
Right.
me a deeper understanding of God, because you don't have to tell me nothing. But thank you for being sovereign in all of it. But also thank you for the opportunity to be able to deconstruct. I just think it's,
Mhm.
let the people, we be so bothered by things that
Everything.
are not bothersome.
Right. Well, I just think it's just a fear, but I also think it goes to this what you said, that people think that someone's going to leave the faith. And we also have a prevalence in the church of an us versus them mentality.
True, true.
And so what do I do with you if you deconstruct and leave the faith? Because for instance, I have a friend who deconstructed and did leave the faith for a time. He was like, "Yeah, I don't believe that anymore." It's been 5 years and now he's slowly reintroducing himself to Christ and coming back around. He still hasn't figured out how he wants to relate to church, but his relationship with God is coming back around. I didn't tell that man I couldn't be his friend because he was like, "Hey, I don't believe anymore." I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay, you hungry?" Like, it's not it's not my place to decide what you're gonna believe at any point in time, and that doesn't make you someone that I can't love or that I can't be in relationship with. I think
Yeah.
people have taken the notion of, like, equally yoked and turned it into a war that you've gotta be on the right side or we can't be around each other.
Let's not even bring up the conversation about equally yoked because y'all don't even know where they came from. You know, we don't you don't know what the yolks are. So it's like, or how, what that truly means. It's just
Mhm.
if we don't have these similarities and we're not equally yoked, y'all, that is not of course it goes back to us reading and understanding the Bible. But
Right.
I agree that it is the us versus them. But I think for me, these things are invitations.
Mhm.
How else are we supposed to evangelize, we'll say, without some sort of invitation? Like, okay, you're deconstructing. I love that for you. How can I support you on this journey? Because even if you leave, is God not powerful enough? Is he not good enough for somebody to come back? Why is
Right.
everybody, if they deconstruct, they going to hell and that's it? How, what kind of just like, what do y'all think about God? It's my favorite quote from Oswald Chambers. What we think about God is the most important thing about us.
Yeah.
My thought is not hell because somebody is asking questions and diving deeper into what they believe. I want them to know what they believe, shouldn't we all?
Everyone should. Also, darn, who are you to be like, "Okay, a thing you believe now means you go to hell." How do you get to decide that?
Because they go from
I
zero to hell.
like, I I don't wanna be the person to decide if people go to hell. Take me out the group chat. I don't want to decide that
Right.
because what do you mean I get to say, "Ah, you deconstructing, maybe you're going to hell." Like,
That's just you saying
terrifying.
that. That sounds wild.
It's wild. It's wild. But
I
it also shows that too many people's sole reason for salvation is to avoid hell.
Can we go there? What I just read about this, I cannot remember what I was reading, but it was this conversation about if avoiding hell is the only reason why you believe in God, what is the purpose?
Right?
And for me, I grew up very legalistic, so there was much emphasis on
Sure.
do holiness or hell. We just gonna say it. Let me not mince my words. And I chose, in their eyes, I chose hell, but it was like you don't make God appealing by me avoiding things in order to be accepted by him. And I'm not saying it's just all lovey-dovey either, because it's hard out here on the straight and narrow, right? But also, if I'm avoiding, the basis of our relationship is I'm gonna do these things to please God and not go to hell. That's what is that? Now it's
Right.
people pleasing, but
Right.
divine people pleasing.
And I'm like, God is so much more, like you said, he's so much more expansive than that. Like when you think about the fact that the God of the universe said, "I want to be in relationship with you." Wow.
I
Like,
mean, does that not want do you not wanna break down in tears because
moves me.
he wanna be with me?
It moves me. That's why I was crying through Leviticus 2 years ago
I will
because
never I will
I know
never forget the way Leviticus
it wrecks me.
tore you to shreds.
It wrecks me because I started thinking about, you know, you look at all these laws and you're like, man, like, why did these people have to do all of this? But then you're like, God is holy. And he's like, I know that my holiness is so powerful that it could harm you. And so I want to give you so many opportunities to be close to me. And so you got to do a few things, but like I really just want you around me. It's like I think about when I was a kid, I got the chicken pox in the summer because what do you
Oof,
mean in the summer?
mm-mm.
And I was devastated because I had the chicken pox. It was the summer, and my house was the house. Like everybody came to hang out, play basketball, my brother and all his
Yeah.
cute friends. It was great. And so I was sitting in our living room front door with the big door open and the screen door so that I could see. And my friends, shout out to my childhood friends, they all came and set up on the porch so that they could be close to me without
Oh,
getting the chicken pot. And we like I had my Barbies and they had their Barbies and we
I
were just
love
playing.
this.
It's one of my favorite memories. And it was like, I know I can't get close to you and touch you because I'll get sick, but I will do whatever it takes. Even if I got to have a door in between us, I want to get as close to you as I can. And so I think about that with God, like, He just wants us to be close to Him. And that wrecks me. It wrecks me. So, how can you want your only entry point to a God that loves you so much to be, I just don't want to go to hell?
Because, okay, my
Yeah.
question to that is, cool, you miss hell, but will you enjoy heaven? Right? Like, if you have not developed an intimacy, a relationship,
Yes.
you don't know how to pray, you don't know how to worship, you don't have this, I gotta be with God. Then when you
Yes.
get there, you're gonna be like, what y'all mean holy, holy, holy? Cause
What we
huh?
doing? Right?
Huh? What's this? I'm not drawn to this. I'm not, enamored by this. I'm not
Mm,
fascinated by this. I'm not in awe. I'm not astonished by God. I was just
yeah.
trying to make hell.
Yeah. And will you be disappointed that some of the people that you thought weren't going to be there are front and center?
And they singing, "Holy, holy, holy."
Because
Okay,
they like,
they up
thank you,
there.
Lord.
They going up.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think it's a dangerous game to play to think that you get to decide that you have a heaven or a hell to put people in. It's a dangerous game. It's also missing the point. It's missing the
Again,
point.
we
Where
we
I
we
think deconstruction gets it right because deconstruction says, I want to take away every pretense, every add on, every extra thing to get to the core of what who God is and what his word says. Like, we should all be deconstructing.
'cause tear it up.
Tear
Rip it
it
up.
up. Because y'all taught
Rip
us some bad stuff.
Real so I have never deconstructed, I'll say. I don't think I deconstructed per se, but I did come to faith through questions because I grew up legalistic and did nothing. None made sense to me. And when I would ask questions, it was just, we don't have the answer. Go pray about it. Miss Kathy, get your daughter. She acting up again. She doing her big like,
Shout out to
shut
Miss
her up.
Kathy.
Miss Kathy, please come get this girl. Where did you get this child from? Why is she like this? I just because no one could answer my questions, and of course my mama had taught me to read by reading the Bible. I was just like, let me find all the answers that I am looking for, before Googling all things. I just sat with the Bible and I sat with my questions. And of course, at this time, I'm like 12, 13, 14. I don't have the biggest comprehension of what's going on here. But I did get a, basic foundation. And I found that what I
Yeah.
was being taught and what the Bible actually said was they was fighting with each other. They was in competition.
Yeah.
And so I feel like without me asking those questions, I would be Baby, I'd be out here being a church scammer. I ain't gonna hold you. I'll be out here feeding the
Oh,
people
yeah.
nonsense because I would just be going with
Girl,
the tradition of men and the people
girl,
would be perishing. And y'all are
listen,
perishing, but we not going there today.
not my fault. Yeah, listen, hey, no, right on to like I think about that sometimes. Like, wow, what would my life look like if I had of for me, it's
Man.
it's hard to say have I deconstructed. It's a complicated question. I think for me a lot of it was pretending. Like I didn't really
Okay.
believe most of what I was being taught, but I was good at performing what needed to be performed.
Yeah.
And so I asked a lot of questions and I was like, getting in all of the trouble to be like, this doesn't make sense. But also I loved church and I liked being in the place. I liked being around my friends. I like singing in church. I like all of the like additives of church. So I would play along enough to stay in the place, you know?
Yeah.
And so
Mm.
I think about like, man, where would I be if I would have kept pretending? And I'm like, oh, I probably would have been like a worship leader at one of these scammer churches.
See? Listen,
Girl.
y'all. It gets you to be a scammer when you don't have real authentic faith. If you are
Too.
not really out here pursuing God, you really, like you said, you perform. And I thought that was so good because that's what a lot of faith is, unfortunately. Like
Mhm.
we perform and if you're trying to miss hell, you have to perform because you have to do all the things to maintain your relationship. So without doing, stripping all that off and doing the scary thing of being vulnerable and authentic, not only with God but with people, then you become a scammer.
Yeah.
So is that what y'all want? I feel like, man, I feel like okay, if I would have went on that track, I feel like, and this is who I would be.
I
This is
can't wait.
y'all see me now. Let me just reveal what I really look like. I got tattoos
Yeah.
and things, got nose rings, all the things. If I would have gone on my legalistic track and just followed the traditions of men, I feel like one, I would not wear any makeup. I would have like a black bust down, but not too long, not too much. Okay, black middle part, probably back to the shoulders. I would be more than likely a pastor's wife, and we would have a scamming church somewhere, and it would be like one of those suffocatingly legalistic places where people could not like ask a question. You couldn't be free. Like you would have to shenan again. And I feel like we really wouldn't care about people because you don't have the space to care about somebody's health when you're trying to just focus on them, following the rules. And I
Right.
think I would be miserable. I would know that I was miserable
Yeah.
cognitively. Like I would feel like I'm doing what's right, but I would be miserable and I would be harming people. And I mean, baby, I would be a big scammer,
Mm.
honestly, with all the church that we was in. We would have had to make it up the ranks. I wouldn't be just no little scammer.
Right, big time. I'm talking,
I would be at the
relate.
top scamming. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just know like in my heart wouldn't be right. And I would really think that I was doing because I don't, in the church that I grew up in, I don't think that they intentionally harm people. I think this
Sure.
is what they learned, this is what they knew, this is what made them feel good, and this is what kept them out of hell, right?
Yeah.
And they were okay with that. But I feel like they didn't know that it was harmful. And so you just go out through life like that. And I would not know that I was harming people, but I would be
Mm.
a big, big time scammer with a church.
So so what was for you the, like, turning point to say, "Yeah, I can't keep going this way." What happened?
I have a story. Welcome to Story Time with TJ. So y'all can't see me from sitting down at this desk, but I'm 6'1". I played basketball.
And I'm
Yeah.
5'3", so when we're together, I'm jealous. I covet my neighbor's height.
You man, if I could give you a little bit,
I'm
I go
tall
down
so
to five
bad.
nine for y'all. I could give out some inches. I'm 6'1", probably 6'2". But I played basketball and I was learning how to play piano. And I really loved my teacher, the person who was teaching me how to play piano was at a church because I loved both. And so I would go from basketball practice to the church to learn how to play the piano. Now, if you know anything about basketball, I'm wearing shorts, okay? I'm not out there playing in a skirt, but in my life, I had to wear skirts because that's how I grew up. So this one particular day, my dad had dropped me off at the church for my piano lessons, and I'm excited. Now, y'all know I didn't like church now. Let's just be honest. That wasn't my thing, but I liked music and I wanted to learn how to play by ear because I could already read. And he was teaching me that. So I'm like, I'm gonna learn the church music. I like this. Baby, I went in them people's church with my practice shorts on. And my before I got out the car, my daddy was like, you want to change? Put your skirt on. I'm sweaty. No, I'm not gonna put on a skirt just to go in here. Like to me, it's a building.
Yeah.
This isn't making sense. Whew. I went in there with my practice shorts on, and the teacher he was cool with it. We practicing, but his mom came and she was like, "Oh, you gotta go, baby. Where I'm going? My daddy's gone. He's not sitting outside in this parking lot waiting on me to finish my lessons. He's gone." And she was like, "You can't be in here with the shorts on." And I was like, "So what am I supposed to do?" And she was like, "Do you have a skirt?" No. And she was like, "Well, you got to sit outside and wait on your dad to come back." We live in Alabama. This was during the summer because it was like summer camp basketball. Then people made me sit outside their church on the steps until my father came to pick me up because I didn't have a skirt on. So I remember going home. Now I was a little rambunctious, so I went home, and it was essentially they got me effed up like. And I told
What?
my mom, and she was like, "What did you have? You know, you had the skirt, baby. I'm not putting that skirt." And so it's this back and forth of, why is nobody seeing that this makes no sense? Like,
Right.
I wasn't disrespecting the house of God. I wasn't disrespecting nobody. I'm in there trying to learn so I can play the piano at church. This is where I'm going to use this gift. And there was no apology. They wouldn't let me come back because I was insubordinate and I refused to change. And how was I going to change if my daddy was gone? But anyway, so they wouldn't let me come back. I never went back. I never got to learn. So that was like, this,
Hmm.
y'all really can't tell me that this is biblical if I'm reading about a Jesus who's loving people and
Right.
y'all are focused on my outside garments. That's insanity. So from then, it was, y'all never got to see me again.
Yeah.
And my mama gave me the choice. She was like, "You wanna go back to church?" Nope, because I didn't wanna be there no way. But now
Say
now
less.
I'm really not coming back because this is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
it could have been a teaching moment. It could have been, okay, this is how we reverence God, this is how we respect him, right? And I understand that you don't understand it, but this is before cell phones. We're gonna let you stay in here. When your dad comes back, we'll talk to him and we'll keep a skirt here for you. So you can just change whenever, you get from practice. Cause I know you're hot. Cause it's hot. Whatever. That could have been a great moment. But really they just made me sit outside because there were no cell phones. They made me sit outside in the heat. Y'all wouldn't even let me sit inside, not even in the vestibule, nothing. Outside on the steps for at least 30 minutes until my daddy came pick me up. And that didn't cause church hurt in me. Let me be clear. I didn't want to be at church no way. I already had my things. But
She was like, "Release."
that was like 1, 2, 3, release me. I got a reason now. Like I got evidence that
Exactly.
I don't need to come
Exactly.
back. But that could have turned at 14. Was I 4? I couldn't drive. Yeah. So like 14, 15, that could have turned me completely away from the faith. And I could have been like, this ain't a God I want to serve and never
Right.
return. Like, you don't know what that could have done to me at that age. It didn't. Thank God. But y'all, please. So yeah,
Please.
that's my story.
Wow. Wow.
Crazy.
And the fact that, that it didn't turn you bitter. Like, I
Yeah.
think that so many people probably can relate to that and have had similar experiences. I know I do.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, our age, they had experiences like that and they left the church and they've never gone back.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They've never gone back. And so, it is a miracle to some extent that in our age, and especially in the time period that we were growing up, like,
Oh yeah.
y'all have to understand the 90s and the early 2000s when it came to church, especially for young girls, was oppressive. It
It was rough.
was it was rough. Like, we were being inundated with messages of just like, "You are not enough. You are horrible. You are
You do.
responsible for other people's purity and their, self-control." It was
Mhm.
intense. And it's not surprising to me that so many people our age are deconstructing,
Absolutely.
because we came of age in a period of the church that was just a lot of really bad theology, like really bad theology. And a piece of me has grace for our leaders, because I won't go into church history. I can't. We'll talk about it one day.
Yes. Let's.
But a lot of our church leaders, especially in minority churches, were bamboozled. They were scammed. There were known scams that are still running, that were run on our churches, uh, to give us booklets and pamphlets and CDs and tapes with an ideology that was so toxic and so oppressive. And so a
Yeah.
lot of us, that's how we came of age. So the fact that we're deconstructing is not out of nowhere. It's not simply that we're deconstructing the Bible because we think that the Bible is inherently wrong or bad. Most of us are deconstructing the theology that was being taught to us and
Yeah.
the way we're taught to read and interpret the Bible.
Yeah.
And I will stand 10 toes down and tell you that for most kids in the 90s, probably the 80s too, I don't know about times before that because I wasn't alive. In the early 2000s, it was wrong and bad. It
Absolutely. It was. And I think we didn't have a safe place to land.
no.
So we got this wrong and bad theology with, there's no church mother I can go to when I'm questioning because she gonna tell me I'm wrong. She's
Yeah.
gonna, beat me up about it. So we just kind of got left out here to figure
Mhm.
things out on our own without much guidance or, like I say, place to land or a place where we could talk about things. It was sinful to even talk about anything that was contrary to, whatever we were being taught. So
Yeah.
you bottle these things in, right? And I think we all really do have this millennials inherent like Jesus was misrepresented to us, but we had enough knowledge to read it. Like he cool though, like he
Yeah.
was social justice. He was out here doing for the people. We could see that and interpret that, but we
Mhm.
didn't have a place where we could say that because it was just bad theology.
We
So
couldn't
when
even
you
go to
read,
school and talk about it, because
you don't go
think
nowhere.
about how much of, like, school, I don't you were an athlete, so even school Bible studies or faith organizations were funneled through this same lens. So you would see each other at the pole
Ooh,
every morning and get a little misogyny, get a little, us versus them, get a little purity
absolutely,
culture before you went to first
man.
period, you know?
The fact that we have been through so much, y'all don't understand. Because see you at the pole is actually insane, but that and I can't remember what that club was. Some other club they used to meet and pray in the mornings. First
FCA,
meeting,
Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
yes. Well, they told me I couldn't be in there, but that's not for today. But these first priority, that's what
First
it was. First priority. Like,
priority.
I do believe that these things had good intentions, but y'all was really messing our minds completely up
Yeah.
because it was no real education, and it has been all rules. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, with
Yeah.
no foundation of this is why you shouldn't do this, this is what'll
Right.
happen if you do this. It was just no, 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 no. And with our generation, you tell us no, let me go try it, see what's
I'll be
up,
back with you.
and I'll see why you were telling me no. And turns out for me, it was fun. So the no y'all was telling me not to do was not bringing me closer to Christ. 'Cause I'm like, I'm having a time out here. And
Right.
y'all telling me the world is not for me, but y'all are rejecting me. The world said, let's go party.
And the
And
world said, "Be yourself, show up fully, be whole." Like,
the
yeah,
world was giving it to me. Okay. The world was like, this is where you belong. And the church was like, you can't come in here with your pants on. Right.
right.
I remember, and I'm not scarred, but I remember like when we left that church organization and I was older and I used to go to church, I would always wear a skirt. And one day my aunt was like, it's jean day or something at church. And I was like, jeans? What? Like we're wearing, and even though my mind was free, like I was not in bondage or pressed by any of that, like that legalism
Yeah.
was not rooted out of me to where it was like trigger, like, we gonna wear jeans to church? Like what?
Mhm.
And I'm out here doing all the things in life,
Yeah.
okay? But wearing pants to church was
That
a
was your
thing.
line.
That was like, now, really? And it
We've
just
gone
goes
too
to
far.
too far. And it just went to, that bad theology really being indoctrinated and ingrained and making a pathway in your brain to where that would even be triggering to somebody who actually has some theological depth. Like, I wasn't still on the surface then when that conversation came up. Like, I know God, we chill, we have our relationship, and I know that He don't care about this. But indoctrination was like, okay, wear them jeans in there if you want to.
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how it shows up for me. Like, my church was kind of seen as um heretical a bit because I went to a
Really?
church that, like, you could wear pants. Well, we were a
Uh-huh.
Baptist church. You could wear pants. Women preached at my church. Like, my church
Really?
was, yeah, and we were like, we believed in, like, the fivefold ministry. So we had prophets. Like, it was a
Oh, y'all was
very,
doing too much.
yeah, especially for a Baptist church. People were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
y'all are heretical." We would go visit, like, sing at other Baptist churches, and my pastor would preach there, and we would have to, like, make sure every woman had on dresses that day or skirts. Or people were like going home and changing before we would go to the other churches. So I didn't have a lot of, like, legalism around that. Mine was more so around, like, just behavior. Like, the Bible was a magical rule book in my,
Mm,
like, that's how I was taught. Like, it
mhm.
was just all about rules. It was about following the rules, always being, a good example, making sure you didn't do anything wrong. So for me, I I didn't have a lot of fun. Like, church was where I had fun. It was my life because that was all, like, all of my friends were from my church. I had friends at school, but they all went to more strict churches than I went to. So, like, I
Mm.
could go to football games and,
You went to football
party. Yeah,
games?
like, my parents would let me go to
Uh-uh.
parties. My mama would beg me. She'd be like, "Girl, please go to a party. Do something fun." But I
Girl.
was very like, "No, I'm sold out for Christ." I used to have like, T-shirts I would
I'm
wear,
sold out.
sold out. I think he
Your
wrote
mind
that
was
song,
made up.
Made Up. I used to wear, scriptural T-shirts to school every day. I was serious business, okay? Like, you couldn't tell me nothing. And then I went to college, and I sang in a gospel choir in college. So, because of that, we traveled a lot. Like, we went all over the country singing at every church you could think of. And on some Sundays, our chapel, so Howard's Chapel is, like, known for all the big pastors and thinkers that come through there. And Reverend Jeremiah Wright from Trinity, Chicago, was speaking like the first Sunday I ever sat in chapel. And if you don't know who Reverend Jeremiah Wright is, he was the Obama's former pastor.
Mhm.
There was a Kerfunkel. But he
Mhm.
is like a liberation theology
Mhm.
person. Like that's his thing. I heard that man preach. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? People read the Bible like this? Like this is a it just blew my mind. And like hearing so many voices and then, taking the class, I was like, "Oh, my church is crazy." Like I've been bamboozled. I remember going home for Christmas break and being like sitting in the audience like,
Y'all scammed me.
y'all lied. Everything's a lie. And I remember trying to talk to my friends who were still at home about it, and they were like, "Whitney, you're being kind of crazy."
Girl, Whitney, you done went up there up north, and you done came
That's
down
what
here with all this foolishness. We don't want
that's
that. No, absolutely not.
they were like, "You went up north and went crazy." But like it changed me because I feel like for the first time I was introduced to biblical scholars. I was introduced to theologians who were reading the Bible in the original Hebrew and Greek. I remember the first time I saw one of those pastors at chapel open their Bible and it was Greek. And I was like, people read Greek. Like I didn't know. I didn't
Mhm.
know. I didn't even know that was an option. And so it completely changed the way that I saw the Bible, the way that I saw God, the way that I listened to ministers. And I've been a menace ever since.
They should have never let us be free.
Why did they do that? They should have
Uh,
just let us wear the pants, or they should have just let us ask them to let, the kids lead a service. That's what I came back and said. I was like, we need to have services where the kids can lead. And they were like, shut up. And I was like,
my first order of business when I was youth pastor, let these kids get up here and do what they want to do, and let it be fine, because it is.
it
You
is fine.
know, like you said, if they would have let us wear the pants and ask the questions, then you could have created an environment that would be conducive to growth. But
Yeah.
y'all don't want to do that. So then we get deconstruct your way to hell. And that's how we
Yeah.
got here.
Yeah. It's
That's
it's
really how
how
we
we
got
got
here.
here. Yeah.
Well, I think the reflection question would be, one, if you never deconstructed, why?
Hmm.
And two, we do a two part. What questions do you have that you're afraid to ask?
Yeah.
And then
Those are
also,
great.
why don't you ask them as well? Think about the questions and then find a safe caveat, find a safe place to ask them. So obviously, if you are in a legalistic church, don't go asking people no questions, okay? Because they're gonna say no. Okay, hell. But find a safe person, send us a message because we clearly want to hear the questions.
I was gonna say
Um,
DM us.
DM us. We will, if we don't know the answer, we will find a place, find somewhere who or somebody who can answer. But ask your questions. It is okay to ask questions. It is necessary, it is needed, and that is how you grow your faith.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
I
we have went from church being a scam to now they're gonna say we encouraging deconstruction.
they finna put us out. We don't even be there, but they finna put us out.
Man, we don't be there.
But I mean, the thing I will say, like honestly, I think those are honestly fantastic questions because I want everyone to know that God is not afraid of your questions.
Eh, He welcomes them if nothing else.
Yeah. He's not
Yeah.
afraid. He is not offended by you having questions or offended by you having doubts. I know we, teach about our boy Thomas and his doubt, but you
I,
should
you
research
know,
that a little more because it's not really what you
I ain't
think.
never had no problem with Thomas and him asking the questions. Cause
Thomas
let
is
me be
hidden. Let
sure.
me see that hand, Jesus. What that hand look like?
Let me see what's up. But Before we go, honestly, if we're thinking of God as our father, right? And if you have kids, if you have a niece, whatever, if you got somebody around you, and they
Mhm.
come and they ask you a question, how do you feel about that? Are you not honored?
Mm.
Like, they want to learn from me. I love them enough to guide them in the right direction. I'm so glad they asked me and not somebody else. Like, that's a safe place to
Yeah.
go with your questions. And we have to think of God that way. He is a safe place for us to go and ask questions. Otherwise, you will be led astray
Yeah.
and you will get scammed because it's all coming back to the scam.
All
So,
coming back to the scam. And there are
ask,
people out there that won't scam you. DM us if you want some resources, some podcasts, some
absolutely.
pastors, thing. I will gladly send you a playlist.
Absolutely. We'll put some links too, because we got to
Period.
get y'all from being scammed. So thank you for joining us for episode 4.
So
I'm
great.
so proud of us. And I don't know what we're
Episode
going to talk
4.
about next week, but I'm sure it'll be heavy hitting as always.
Right. Will someone scam this week? Will we have to talk about it? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Bye,
We'll
guys.
see y'all next time.